Then a couple of helpful resources in the West. Certainly True Parents' investment and legacy is a huge resource in the West. And the people's experience with True Parents is a huge resource for activation of Tribal Messiah work, and the members' desire to honor that legacy. Secondly, also the Christian heritage, which may be problematic in other parts of the world in some ways, but in the West, it's generally a plus, I would say. Because many members feel called by God, felt called by God in order to participate in this movement from the very beginning. Therefore, the heavenly, representing God, and heavenly tribal Messiah is important to emphasize in the West, I would say. Also, there are many resources in Christian tradition. Just highlight one called the imitation of Christ. That doesn't mean fake Christ. It means imitating, living life, being like Christ. The Christian tradition contains a huge amount of literature, devotional literature, about how to become Christ-like. This is very good literature for us. It's edifying. We can learn from it. We can appreciate it. And because we are becoming Messiah-like. How do we be Messiah-like? And reading True Parents' words in that way, right? We can learn a lot from Christian tradition on that. So it's an asset. On the other hand, there are a few liabilities in the West. There are external challenges. The culture of individualism. During the break, I had a moment to discuss with one of the heroes of the movement in Czechoslovakia. And we talked about the fact that in communist or formerly communist countries, ideological oppression was very obvious to people. In the West, ideological oppression is not obvious. We're so much a part of it that we don't even notice it. So the culture of individualism, materialism, and skepticism, people think, well, this is me. I'm a skeptical individual. That's who I am. Meanwhile, I'm getting a feed all the time from the media of what to think. All the time, constantly. So this is a problem. And the genderism, the so-called gay marriage movement, is one example of that. And the problem is not so much it's the political problem of it, the human rights ideology problem. Okay. So I think it's important that we recognize what we're up against as well. And anti-theism, and even the problem of institutionalized religion, because religion is so much in the news as a negative force today. Then we also have our internal challenges. Disconnection from extended families, particularly the immigrant countries in North America and also Australia, are separated from their tribe. You say tribe to me, I don't know what you're talking about. They say hometown. People ask me, go to your hometown. I have no idea where that is. So this is a reality. True Father's been trying to recreate the hometown system through home church. So we have to recognize that those terms have to be, to nurture our brothers and sisters to feel the reality of those things in their own life. Let me move ahead quickly. I better say factionalism, because factionalism is, as we know, a serious problem all over the world, and it's pretty serious in North America, because North America is the home to several of the factions of our movement. And we need to be embracing of this reality and this fact, because it affects how members are thinking about their mission. Okay, then, a couple of other points. We talked about family as the basis. We know that. The relationship between family and the expansion to tribal Messiah, heavenly tribal Messiah, living for the higher purpose. The main point I want to make here is we're familiar with the four great realms of heart. But there's an issue in that many brothers and sisters feel not very successful in establishing the four great realms of heart. So people may think, you're asking me to become a heavenly tribal Messiah. My family has all these problems. My children are not listening to me. They're not part of our movement anymore. I'm a failure as a parent. And how can you tell me to be a heavenly tribal Messiah? So we need to rethink, we need to re-engineer that. So the point here is that the painful struggles are evidence of success, not evidence of failure. Yeah, I think so. If it were not so, I'm going to push this point. If it were not so, then our whole movement is a failure. Anybody think that? All right, that's the consequence. So the pain of the struggle is evidence of the four great realms of heart. Okay, we can debate that after, I'm sure. So why should you fulfill your responsibility as tribal Messiah? The first reason, you need to save your parents. Many of our parents have gone to the spirit world. So we need some strategies to do something for them. Changchun is part of that. Why? In order to gain the position of heavenly tribal Messiah through becoming the leader of our own family, including our parents. So, anyway, there's some other elements there. Press ahead. So we need to work on the concept of tribe, and here a recommendation of Seth Godin's book, Tribes, We Need You to Lead Us. This is a book that reconfigures our thinking about what a tribe is, and it actually regenerates the notion of tribe as a network to which we belong, that people are actually involved in already. Any group of people, large or small, who are connected to one another, have a leader and an idea. Now that's way too general for the strict standards, right? But at least it's a starting point. That brothers and sisters are involved in tribes. So let's recognize that first and then work on converting those tribes. These are different types of tribes that we're involved in. It's in the text, so I'm going to skip that. Adopted tribes, true parents tribes. At the end of the day, it's one tribe, true parents tribe. Heavenly tribal messiahs are those who become part of heavenly parents tribe. So, okay. Developing as heavenly tribal messiahs, home church materials are still relevant, still very important. True Father's words, we cannot avoid the path of home church if we are to restore the foundation for tribal messiahship. So the reason I bring that is because some people say, oh, well, we failed in home church. So how can we do anything else? Okay, so the good news is, the gospel is, it begins today. So all those material is so relevant to the process of heavenly tribal messiahship today. Okay, and then natural witnessing we're familiar with. Implication. Every field of human endeavor is a field for heavenly tribal messiah work in the era of Chanukka. That is, heavenly tribal messiahship can be a way to solidify and advance many of the natural witnessing activities that blessed central families are already doing. If the goal is understood as something that is connected with what they are already doing, right, then there's room for celebration, and it's also possible, easier to keep going. Next, and almost last, inclusivity. It is important to recognize that members and blessed central families are at all different levels of preparedness for this providence. In the midst of external challenges, blessed families can best support one another by refraining from judging one another. I don't know how it is in other countries, but there is so much noise in our country of judgment and counter-judgment, and we spend all of our time with that, it seems. So, on encouraging leadership to guide members to be gentle with one another rather than judgmental. And this is also biblical, right? Judgment is mine, says the Lord. Rejoice in one another's victories. The successful advance of other blessed central families and tribes also strengthens one's own ability to build a heavenly tribal Messiah realm. Right? So in a way there's kind of heavenly competition, but it's not a zero-sum game. When we hear the testimonies of success in other countries, it opens possibilities. That this kind of miracle can happen in our lives as well, and in our countries as well. Okay, and then reconciliation. The concept of heavenly tribal Messiah can provide a way of thinking positively about what all, emphasis on all, of our brothers and sisters are doing. even in the various factions, divisions, or miscellaneous activities of our movement. It's a way of thinking about what all the brothers and sisters are doing, because one day, this reconciliation is going to happen. And we need to prepare the foundation for that by recognizing the accomplishments of all of our brothers and sisters under Two Parents Catholics. In order to prepare the way for reconciliation, we need to have this kind of positive assessment of what brothers and sisters are doing. And we have an opportunity to articulate a vision of heavenly tribal messiahship that is wide enough to be inclusive of all, and therefore open a path of reconciliation. So, finally, now is the time to inspire our membership, as we know, as we've been talking about, this tremendous zeal coming out from this movement, with an open-ended, inclusive vision of heavenly tribal messiahship, and also a very clear pathway to realization. And that I've learned a tremendous amount by the process of this seminar, about the pathway and the clarity of the pathway. So, we will advance effectively by promoting Heavenly Tribal Messiah responsibility and encouraging Blessed Central families to accept their responsibility, find ways to accomplish it, following those general principles and contributing together to Vision 2020. Thank you for the opportunity.